Good morning. Partisan terrorism isn't something that's often talked about, Sharon, but it is on the rise. It's terrorism acted out on behalf or against one of our two political parties, and experts caution it's extremely dangerous.
As this violent mob stormed the U.S. Capitol, among them members of extremist groups who sought to overthrow the political process of our democracy.
We can't kill or capture our way out of this fight.
2 years ago, William Braniff, the director of a national consortium dedicated to studying terrorism, spoke about the solutions to counter violent extremism, and he's still doing that today.
If someone is flirting with a violent extremist idea or a network, whether that's online or in the real world, we have to figure out how to wrap our arms around that person and give them what they're actually looking for or what they might actually need. And the question is, can we offer them a pro-social alternative to what the violent extremist movement is offering that person finds attractive?
Braniff stresses there's not a silver bullet solution for violent extremists, but says our society needs to be open enough to consider a public health approach.
And this means allocating resources to people who might have done really horrible things. It's hard to do politically, but if we don't, we're condemning them to continue to be a public health issue, right? We're not de-risking the situation. And so investing in prevention, intervention, and reintegration.
Without a full spectrum approach, Braniff says violent extremism plus threats will likely continue. And BNC has learned threats against federal lawmakers more than doubled in the past 5 years, from nearly 4,000 in 2017 to roughly 9,600 last year. What's more, hate crimes are also up, the highest in about 2 decades. FBI data shows 8,263 hate crimes were reported in 2020, with bias against Black people representing about 34%.
The overwhelming majority of hate crimes in the United States are white supremacists.
Professor Kyanthi Joshi says America's growing diversity and the fear of it goes beyond race.
And it's not just the browning of America, but it's also non-Christian religions coming in, right? And so that's why that religion element is so very central, because again, Christianity has helped create the construction of whiteness. And if we have all of these other religions coming in, what's going to happen? So we make them the enemy.
And in 2021, attacks on religion, plus the spread of hate and misinformation, sometimes led to verbal blows among elected officials. Braniff says Congress needs to lead with American civics.
When folks are watching this and they're at home and they see things like January 6th play out, what can they do on a day-to-day basis to help prevent terrorism and hate crimes? Because I think a lot of folks think this is not something that really involves me. I'm helpless in being able to be part of the solution.
Being mindful of what you're sharing, and in general, if you're sharing information that is going to increase polarization, increase an us versus them attitude, dehumanize other Americans, then we're creating an environment in which violent extremism is much more likely.
Now, as for that public health approach, it has influenced different parts of government, including the Department of Homeland Security. Back in May, we know Secretary Mayorkas established a new center to combat terrorism with prevention programs as part of it.